You know it when you see it, right? Every great business, every leader that just totally breaks the mold seems to have it. That special something you can't quite put your finger on, but you know it's there. Well, that's what we call the X factor, and today we're going to break down exactly what that is and how it creates a totally unshakable and, yeah, unfair advantage.
So let me just start by asking you this, and really think about it for a second. What is the one thing about your business, your product, or maybe just you, that your competitors could absolutely never, ever replicate? I'm not talking about your price or your features, something deeper. That question, that's the key to unlocking your own X factor.
Okay, let's get into it. The source material here defines the X factor as that non-replicable differentiator. But what does that really mean? Look, it's not just one thing. It's this powerful blend of intangibles. Think of it as where your unique assets, how will you connect with the market, and the actual soul of your company culture all meet. It's what turns simple competence into, well, charisma.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll demystify the whole idea. Then we'll dig into what makes a defensible business edge. After that, we'll talk about the irreplaceable human spark. And then, the really fun part, capturing lightning in a bottle. And finally, we'll tie it all together to help you figure out your own core advantage. All right, first up, creating your defensible edge. I want you to think about this like you're building a strategic fortress around your business, one that's just incredibly difficult for anyone else to even try to breach. So in this section, we're going to look at the actual building blocks for that fortress. We're talking concepts like being the first mover, creating barriers to entry, leveraging network effects, and even the simple power of just being rare. These are kind of the structural pieces of an X factor. You know, being first isn't just about being fast. It's about power. The first one in the door gets to write the rules. They define what customers should expect. And that creates this powerful, lasting advantage that is so tough for anyone else to overcome. And this right here shows such a great contrast between the legal side of things and the psychological side. On one hand, you've got a patent, basically a legally enforceable keep out sign. But on the other, you have a barrier built on pure brand love, a psychological moat that honestly can be even more powerful. And then, of course, there's the network effect, a classic X factor. Just think about any social media platform. The more of your friends who are on it, the more valuable it becomes to you, right? That's it in a nutshell. Growth itself becomes the advantage, and it creates this momentum that's almost impossible for a newcomer to stop. But, you know, a fortress isn't enough. A fortress is just stone and mortar. You need a soul. And that brings us to our second section, the irreplaceable human spark. This is all about the stuff that simply cannot be engineered, copied, or automated. It's about people.
In this part, we're going to explore things like charisma, a company's secret sauce, and the sheer raw force of talent. This is really where we find the heartbeat of a brand.
We all love to talk about a company's secret sauce. But what is it really? Well, it's that unique blend of your culture, your skills, and just how you get stuff done. It's the unwritten rules, the intuition, the way your team just clicks. You can't write it down in a manual, and that's exactly why no one can copy it.
This slide really illustrates the two sides of the human coin here. Talent is the raw capability. It's what your people can do. Charisma, on the other hand, is that magnetic force that just pulls people in. It's not just about ability. It's all about influence.
And in a world of AI and automation, this H factor, the human factor, is becoming the ultimate differentiator. It's the empathy, the intuition, the authenticity that an algorithm just can't replicate. This, right here, is your most durable advantage for the future. Okay, so we have the fortress and we have the soul. Now for our third section, we're going to get into the most elusive part of the X factor. This is about capturing lightning in a bottle. This is about channeling the magic. Now I know the terms here might sound a little abstract. Je ne sais quoi, vibe, magic. But seriously, do not underestimate their power. These are the perceptual differentiators that create true fascination and command attention when everything else is just noise. So what is that je ne sais quoi? That I don't know what? It's that indescribable quality that just elevates something from being really, really good to being truly great. It's the perfect harmony of timing, design, and a deep, deep connection to the culture. The source material just puts it perfectly. The X factor is what transforms functionality into fascination. It's the alchemy that turns something that simply works into something that absolutely captivates you.
And the absolute peak, the pinnacle of all this, is Zeitgeist capture. This is incredibly rare. This is when a brand doesn't just participate in the culture, it becomes the culture. It so perfectly reflects the mood of the moment that it ends up defining an entire era.
And let's not forget the wow factor. You know this feeling. It's that moment when an experience so dramatically exceeds your expectations that you just can't help but talk about it. That's how you turn happy customers into passionate evangelists for your brand.
So, we've explored the fortress, the soul, and the magic. Now, let's bring it all back home and talk about turning these intangible ideas into tangible real-world impact. What is your core advantage?
See, the crucial point here is how all these pieces fit together. It's not about having just one X factor in isolation. The real power comes when you combine your unique elements, your strategic edge, your human spark, your cultural magic, to form one central core advantage that produces real, measurable results.
This table just brings it all together so clearly. Your strategic, defensible X factors, those can lead to market dominance. Your human and cultural X factors, they build unbreakable brand loyalty. And all that magical, perceptual stuff, that's what gives you pricing power. This is the tangible return on your intangible advantage. So at the end of the day, your X factor is your story, the one that only you can tell. It's the combination of your structure, your soul, and your magic. So the final question really isn't just what your X factor is. It's, are you telling that story loud and clear?